Yeah, R-A-W. Words being served, no concern and no trouble to get that dough. Money on my mind, if it's money all the time, we be pumping on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and upsea quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team and we rock it. We rock Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and bets, injects cash in your pockets. All the time we be pumping on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and upsea quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team and we rock it. We rock Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and bets and jets.
What's going on, sports fans? It's Sunday, Week 11, NFL, ladies and gentlemen, and you know it's me, LJ from H-Town, as I do every Sunday morning, give you my best prop bets for this Week 11 NFL slate. I believe we got some good ones, ladies and gentlemen. We went pretty good last week as well. If I remember, we only lost one. I don't know the exact record, but y'all know, y'all follow me, y'all tune in. Y'all want to get money just like me. So I know y'all know I had a good record last week for us the props. So, but today, it's a new day, it's new money. So let's jump in, ladies and gentlemen, and let's see if we can get some cash. First up, we have Sam Howell, ladies and gentlemen, over 36.5 pass attempts, minus 114. And if you know, we've been cashing on this pretty much all season because he's hit this number in 4 games in a row. He's hit it 7 out of his last 10 games. Now, not to mention, he's number 1 in pass attempts in the NFL, 397 pass attempts, averaging 40 pass attempts at home, averaging 44.5 pass attempts the last 2 weeks, and he had 42 pass attempts the last game versus the Giants, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't see why we don't stay on this prop. It's minus 114. It was minus 14 last week as well at 37.5. Now it's dropped down 1 for some reason. But hey, I just know that this prop has been cashing pretty much all season. So you know how I invest in my props. I invest in something that continues to be consistent throughout the year. So we're not jumping off right now. We're probably not going to jump off anytime soon because Washington cannot run the ball. They depend on Sam Howell to pass the ball down the field. He's also the most sacked quarterback in NFL as well. So that just lets you know that a lot of those attempts be there because they have to pass the ball. So if they're going to continue to put him out there and continue to keep getting sacked, applying pressure on him so he can pass, hey, let's continue to keep cashing on this bet, ladies and gentlemen. So Sam Howell, over 36.5 pass attempts, minus 114. Let's jump over here. We have Brian Robinson, same team, anytime touchdown, minus 112, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason why we're doing this is because the Giants defense has allowed a touchdown to the running back 9 out of the 10 games that they've played this season. So another prop trend that we just continue to keep catching all year. The Giants, they give up touchdowns to the running back. And like we said, they're vulnerable on defense. These two teams have played each other already now. Brian Robinson had a touchdown the last game versus the Giants they played this year. So, hey, why not take him again? It's minus 112, easy money. So I believe we can take Brian Robinson again, anytime touchdown, minus 112 versus the New York Giants defense that is very vulnerable on the run, and they give up touchdowns to the running back. Let's jump over here, ladies and gentlemen. We have Brandon Ayuk over 67.5 receiving yards, minus 115 versus the Tampa Bay defense today, which allows the second most receiving yards to the receiver. 8 different receivers hit this number versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense this year. And Brandon Ayuk is averaging 84 yards in the last 6 games. So I believe the 49ers offense is clicking right now. They're getting healthy. We already know about Christian McCaffrey. He is the head. He is the snake. So you got to stop him initially. But Brandon Ayuk is pretty much the only receiver that they have out there on their roster. Debo comes out and then Kittles, but as far as receiver-wise, Brandon Ayuk gets the most production when it comes to these long passes down the field. So the fact that Tampa Bay's defense is so vulnerable on the receiving, I mean, they just let the Texans receivers, 3 different receivers caught a touchdown and 100 yards on them last week. So, no, it wasn't last week. I'm sorry. Tampa Bay was off. But 2 weeks ago, Tampa Bay gave up 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. So if I feel San Francisco at home as a favorite as well, this is where they play good. I feel, Brandon, you can get this over 60 half of receiving yards, considering Tampa Bay gives up the second most receiving yards to receivers. So I feel very comfortable in that one. So we can move on to this one. Brandon McManus, over 1.5 field goals, minus 139, ladies and gentlemen. And this is another trend that we've just been cashing all year long, because the Tennessee Titans allows the most field goals in the NFL. Actually, it's 25 made field goals so far. And we're in week 11. And they've given up 25 made field goals. So that means that, hey, they're not giving up touchdowns. I guess that's a good thing. But, hey, you're still scoring field goals on them. So over 1.5 field goals, 8 out of the 9 games that they've played. Only 1 game, the field goal kicker did not get over 1.5 field goals on the Titans. So we're going to continue to keep riding this. Brandon McManus, Jacksonville today, playing the Tennessee Titans at home as well. So another trend, I feel. He's averaging 2 field goals at home. So let's jump on Brandon McManus, ladies and gentlemen. Over 1.5 field goals, minus 139. It's juiced for a reason. He's going to cash it. You can parlay it with something else. So just to put a sprinkle on it, just some money in your pocket. So, yeah, Brandon McManus, over 1.5 field goals, minus 139 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, let's move over here, Joe, ladies and gentlemen. We have Josh Allen, rushing touchdown, plus 140. And this has been something that I've been cashing as well, because he's hit this number 7 out of his last 8 games. So we do know Josh Allen is a turnover machine. He'll either pass a touchdown or he'll throw 3 picks. Who knows what Josh Allen is going to do today, But I do know that they get into the red zone. They were in the red zone. They've been in the red zone 8 out of the last 13 attempts in cash the last 4 games. So 13 times they've been in the red zone. They scored 8 times on a touchdown. Now, I didn't go into the specific numbers to see how many of those touchdowns Josh Allen ran in, but I'm pretty sure it's more than 2 or 3. I probably can put some money on that. So when they get in the red zone, he's looking to score. So if he's feeling uncomfortable, if anybody open, he will run the ball. He probably will run it from the 20. You probably won't even have to be in the red zone for Josh Allen. If he sees an opening, he's going to take off. So I'm going to trust that this number has hit 7 out of the last 8 games. He's had a rushing touchdown. Let's just keep riding the trend, ladies and gentlemen. It's versus the division game today versus the Jets, I believe. And, he likes to play well at home. So versus the division as well. So, hey, I believe Josh Allen is going to try to make a statement. He threw some picks last game versus the Broncos. They lost that game too, so they're coming off a loss. So, hey, Josh Allen, anytime touchdown today, plus 140. I feel he will get a rushing touchdown today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've been waiting on. I waited specifically for this game because I have a lot in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start right here. My Houston Texans at home today versus the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray is back, running the helm with the Cardinals. But the Cardinals are one of the main teams that we can pick on pretty much throughout the year. They're very vulnerable on defense. And the fact that the Texans offense is clicking so much, I believe that we can jump in this game right here. We can find a lot of spots. So we're going to start off with Devin Singletary. Anytime touchdown, minus 143. And we're going to parlay it with a Texans win, plus 112. Now, this is why we're doing that. Arizona has allowed a running back to score a touchdown 7 out of their last 9 games. They're also allowing 142 rushing yards their last 3 games. They gave up 184 rushing yards last week versus the Falcons. So they do have Devin Singletary over 74.5 rushing yards minus 114. I didn't put that on here, but I wouldn't mind that as a bet as well. They're very vulnerable on the rush defense, as I just mentioned. He's averaging 88 rushing yards the last 2 games. He had 150 last week versus the Bengals. So I believe they're going to establish the run today because DeMeco Ryans and that staff should know that Arizona is very vulnerable on the run defense. They give up a lot of rushing yards. So establish a run game today. It doesn't have to be a potent one. Just every now and then pick your spots because that opens up the play action, I believe, with CJ Stroud. So we're going to move over to here as well. CJ Stroud, over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus the Texans to win, minus 107. And the reason why we're just not taking the touchdowns, obviously, because it's minus 179. It's juice for a reason. And I'm going to tell you the reason why it's juice. Because CJ Stroud has had 2+ touchdowns in every home game this year, ladies and gentlemen. That's why it's juiced to minus 179. So if you can parlay it with a Texas win, considering you feel the Texans are going to win this game, let's just bring down the juice and get a minus 107, pretty much even money. I believe that will be a perfect parlay for us to catch. The Texans averaging 30 points, 3-0 their last 3 home games. So I believe they're going to put up some points on the Cardinals defense, and CJ Stroud should have a good day. If you have him on your fantasy team, I would suggest to put him in the fantasy because I do believe he probably will have more than 2 touchdowns. He probably will have 3 touchdowns. He probably have a rushing touchdown or mix it up. Who knows? I don't know, but I'm pretty sure the Texans they're going to get to that 30 points team total today. I haven't looked to see what it is. I was going to look on it once I get off, probably tweet it out, but looking at their team total over as well. But I definitely can bet that CJ Stroud will have at least 2 touchdown passes, and I feel the Texans will win the game, and we're going to take it at a minus 107, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's move over to this. On the other side of the ball, Trey McBride, over 5.5 receptions, plus 106. So I wanted to dive into this one and let you know that Trey McBride, I think it's a great matchup today versus the Texans defense. The Texans defense allowed the most receptions to the tight end position, averaging 7 receptions a game. Trey McBride, he had 8 receptions, 131 yards last week versus the Falcons. Kyler Murray back in that lineup. I feel Kyler Murray is going to have to depend on him a lot as pretty much a safety net. He's a big tight end, so he can see him down the field, get him out of certain situations, check downs, things like that. So Kyler Murray was looking for him last week. I believe he's going to look for him again. He's averaging 9 targets in his last 3 games, 21 catches, 248 yards last 3 games. So I believe he's going to be important today for the Cardinals to move the chains, get third downs. So I'm going to take a shot at Trey McBride. I see his receiving yards is over 58.5, minus 114, but Price Picks has it at 55.5. So that's too much of a difference for me to try to jump on the receiving yards because he may not have 50 receiving yards. He may have 40, but he'll have 6 catches, 7 catches, because I believe he's going to be a viable part of that offense if the Cardinals are going to be successful moving down the field, because I don't believe they're going to be able to run the ball on us. The Texans have a great rush defense. It's hard to run the ball on the Texans. So if the Cardinals can't establish that run game, Kyler Murray is going to have a lot of pass attempts, and he's going to have to pass the ball down the field, running out the pocket, things like that, trying to make plays down the field. So Trey McBride should have a lot of opportunities considering he has 9 targets averaging the last 3 games. So I'm going to jump on that. Trey McBride, over 5.5 receptions, plus 106. All right, let's move over to this one, ladies and gentlemen. I have a bonus one for you. Oh, we're going to stay in this game. Stroud, over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus Dalton Schultz, anytime touchdown, plus 208. And while we're doing that, Schultz has had a touchdown in his last 3 home games. Now, CJ Stroud, like Schultz, he's dependent on him, especially in third down situations. Always remember, I tell y'all, CJ Stroud is the best quarterback passer rating on third down percentage. He moves the chains. He gets the third down. Even if it's 3rd and 15, 10. Like I've seen him get this third down on long stretches to where they had to get a third down to get a first down and stay on the field. He gets these third downs. So CJ Stroud over 1.5 passing touchdowns, as I mentioned earlier, plus Dalton Schultz, anytime touchdown, plus 208. I believe that's also a good parlay piece that we can make some money on today, considering how vulnerable the Cardinals' pass defense is. I believe they're going to probably try to shut down our run but be vulnerable in that secondary because they're going to have to apply pressure to CJ Stroud because he stays in that pocket. He's very poised. He finds his receivers. He puts the ball where only the receiver can catch it. So if the Cardinals are going to try to apply pressure, that leaves them vulnerable in that secondary. And I believe CJ Stroud can make plays, find his receivers. So Dalton Schultz, anytime touchdown. I believe Tank Dell gets a touchdown today as well. I didn't put it on here, but I wouldn't mind that as well. Tank Dell touchdown, Dalton Schultz touchdown, and a Devin Singletary touchdown. That could be the 3 touchdowns that the Texans scored today. And that would cash every prop if they win, every prop that I'm putting out right now. So think about that one. I say it's a lot of money in this game to be made, and I believe we can cash on, pretty much all the ones that we're keying in on that the Cardinals are vulnerable in their secondary. All right, last one, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move over to this game. This Miami game versus the Raiders. Miami's back home, and we know how Miami is at home, supposed to being on the road. It's a completely different team, just like the Dallas Cowboys. That's a similar trend with them as well. They play very good at home, especially against sorry teams, opposed to on the road versus good teams. And I think Miami is in the same situation. So Miami's back home today versus the Raiders. Raiders been, a couple of games they've won against some mediocre teams, pretty much at the bottom of the league. They're going up against a high-power offense today. So I believe the Raiders are in trouble down there in Miami. And we're going to jump on Tua Tagovailoa over 1.5 passing touchdowns plus Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown minus 104. And why are we doing that, ladies and gentlemen? Tua Tagovailoa has 2+ touchdowns in every home game he's played this year. They're averaging 43 points at home, and Tyreek Hill has had a touchdown in every home game as well. So the connection has been there all year long. They're playing the Raiders. They're at the bottom of the league in defense and offense as well. So I don't see the Raiders keeping up with Miami today. I would be very surprised if the Raiders show us any type of fight today to even stay in this game. But we're not even saying Miami has to win the game. We're saying that Tua has to get 2+ passing touchdowns and Tyreek Hill to get an anytime touchdown. And they can do that in the first half, first quarter, whatever the case may be. We've already made our money, and we're not concerned about the rest of this game. I believe Miami will win the game, but I'm not interested in taking a minus 13.5 spread, I believe is where it's at. 12.5 last time I seen it. So, hey, that's too much. First half, Miami, but I ain't worried about that spread. Let's jump on something we know that's been cashing all year. So why wouldn't it cash today? Tua over 1.5 passing touchdowns plus Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown minus 104, ladies and gentlemen. Now, quick review. We have Sam Howell over 36.5 pass attempts minus 114. He's hit this number in 4 straight games, 7 out of his last 10. Washington has to pass the ball a lot, and I believe he will continue to keep hitting that passing attempts prop. Josh Allen, anytime touchdown, plus 140. 7 out of his last 8 games, Josh Allen has had a rushing touchdown. Another trend, and we're just going to stay on. Brian Robinson Jr., anytime touchdown, minus 112 versus the Giants, who's given up a rushing touchdown to the running back in 9 out of the 10 games that they've played this year. Brian Robinson had a touchdown the last game when he played the Giants. He should have another one again today. Brandon Ayuk over 67.5 receiving yards, minus 114. Tampa Bay gives up the most receiving yards to the receivers. Brandon Ayuk is averaging 84 yards in his last 6 games. San Francisco's at home favorite. I believe he will be a viable part of the offense today and cash the 67.5 receiving yards. Brandon McManus, over 1.5 field goals, minus 139 versus the Titans. The Titans allowed the most field goals in the NFL and 25 made field goals. Over 1.5 field goals, 8 out of their 9 games. Another trend that we're just going to continue to keep catching all the way to the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, we jumped into this Texans and Cardinals game, and we got a lot going on. We got C.J. Stroud over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus the Texans to win at minus 107. We have C.J. Stroud over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus Dalton Schultz anytime touchdown, plus 208. We have Devin Singletary anytime touchdown, plus Texans to win, plus 112. And we have Trey McBride over 5.5 receptions, plus 106. We have all that going on in this Texans and Cardinals game. I'm going to be down there at the game, live, watching the Texans try to continue this winning streak over Kyler Murray and these Cardinals. And we'll see how we do as far as cashing these props. Last but not least, we have Tua Tagovailoa over 1.5 passing touchdowns, plus Tyreek anytime touchdown, minus 104, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we have today. I believe those are some great props that we can invest in. Look at what you want to do. See what you want to play. I know you're probably not going to play all of them, but y'all do what y'all do. Y'all due diligence. Do y'all numbers. Don't rely on me to give y'all these stats and numbers. Y'all verify, fact check it for me, because I believe everybody come together and we can be a cohesive unit to get this money. It's us against the bookies, ladies and gentlemen. So let's continue to keep cashing on these bookies if they continue to keep getting these numbers that we are able to make. So until then, next Sunday, ladies and gentlemen, week 12, I'm going to be back at you. NFL props, LJ from H-Town, RaWordzPodcast. See y'all next week.
All the time we be pubbing on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and up see quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a game. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team and we rock it. We rock Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and yeah, R-A-W, words being served, no concern and no trouble to get that dough. Money on my mind, if it's money all the time, we be pubbing on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and up see quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a game. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team and we rock it. We rock Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and vets, injects cash in your pocket.